Hey, welcome again to the Early Warnings for All webinar, the fourth in the series. This time we're going to look at financing advancement in early warning systems. I think this is a really exciting one, really looking at sustainability, return on investment. We're going to hear a bit from our partners and panelists from their experience at the national and regional level. Let me just introduce myself. I'm Raymond Zing. I'm the EW4ALL Regional Coordinator for Anticipatory Action. I work for the EW4ALL Regional Office and I'm based in Bangkok. Yeah, as I said, right, the webinar series actually started after the global platform on DRR, and it's really, we want to use this platform to share stories, identify best practices across the region. And again, in that spirit, this webinar will be looking in detail at the socioeconomic benefits of early warning systems. We have a great panel, and they will share a bit about their experiences at the national and regional level. But without further ado, let us start with the opening remarks. We are honored to have with us Mr. Elkan Rahimov, the head of the EW4ALL country cluster delegation in Bangkok, overseeing Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Sorry, I see, Elkan, you are online. I'll start with you first for some opening remarks. From your experience, what are the key financial barriers to scaling early warning systems, and how can financing approaches be designed so that investments in early warning systems actually translate into early action and protection for the most vulnerable? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Raymond, and welcome to all participants to this important series of the webinars. It's great to see that Early Warning for All initiatives represent shared global commitment that to ensure that we're protecting lives and also with including early warning systems more developed by the year 2027. We see that the initiative grounded in the Sendai framework and the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement, good connection to the science, strong partnerships, and the capacity development above all, of course, as we today webinar will be focusing on the sustainable financing. Out of the experience when then the EW4ALL network, it's important to underline that the financing must support the preparedness, communication, and anticipatory action, one of the key pillars related to the early warning for all. Out of the disasters in the region, even the recent ones we have seen for the period of the last 3-4 months, we hope the warnings which must lead to the timely decisions and resources before disaster strikes. This is where EW4ALL also integrated its anticipatory action into this draft mechanism, enabling National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies to respond. Acting and the capacities before and during disasters, and then strengthening the preparedness and turning into the response. That is a component we have seen across the initiative, across the organizations. It's good to see that Early Warning for All remains open and inclusive initiative, and this is I specifically would like to underline at the opening of this webinar. There is a few more technical reflections I will make at the closing after the distinguished speakers would talk, but one very important element to mention that success of this initiative depends on the governments, communities, United Nations agencies, private sector, academia, and Red Cross, Red Crescent network working together. Because to close the gaps only by the capacity of one organization is impossible, because the issues are of the scale which would require coordinated effort. So therefore, dear distinguished participants, I would like to wish you all the interesting discussions today at the webinar, and I will have opportunity to conclude at the end with few more technical remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elkan, for these insightful opening remarks. Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said, right? It is also about collaboration, sustainability, especially now in the time of the humanitarian reset. Just for those, I see that actually more people have joined. Welcome again. You will see that we have a Q&A chat. If you have any questions, feel free to put them there in the chat. And also, if you want, you can also introduce yourself in the chat so we know a bit who's here. Also, this meeting is being recorded. But yeah, that was just a short admin notice. But yeah, let me now turn to our distinguished panel. We have, for each pillar, we have a speaker. For pillar 1, we have Mr. Adrianto from the Ministry of Finance of the Government of Indonesia. He's the Director of Regional Financing and Economic Affairs.
Hello.
Welcome, Mr. Adrianto. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
For pillar 2, we have Mr. Ofafa Anunu. He is the program manager of the Weather Ready Pacific program of SPREP, the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program. Thanks for having you with us. For pillar 3, we have Mr. Mukesh Kumar from the Ministry of Communications of India. He's the Deputy Director General. Thank you as well for joining. And last but not least, for pillar 4, we have Ms. Kathleen Zambas. She's the Technical Officer for Anticipatory Action from the Philippine Red Cross. Thank you for joining us as well. Good. With this, let us start with the panel discussion. I will come to Mr. Adrianto first. Looking a bit at Indonesia's elaborate early warning system, could you tell us more about the CAP modeling and the budget stress testing that the Indonesian government is doing and how it helps sustain the national early warning system? Over to you, Mr. Adrianto.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon in Indonesia and Bangkok. And thank you for inviting us to join in this webinar to share Indonesian experience. So let me start with the one important point on the risk of the fiscal shocks in the economy. As you know, that the one of the role of or the function of the fiscal policy is to guard the economy or to make sure the stabilization in the economy, so to protect the economy from the fiscal shocks. I think in the past, we may focus the fiscal shock only come from the financial sector, for instance. So when there is a financial shock, it leads to the economic shock and leads to the fiscal shocks. But actually, there is one important aspect which can result in the or lead to the fiscal shock is the event in the natural disaster. In Indonesia, as a country which is located in the ring of fire, we have seen frequent natural disaster. The fiscal shocks can come from the natural disaster. So Indonesia needs to put high effort, more policies to guard the economies from the fiscal shocks which can come from the natural disasters. And I think we have seen this from what has happened in Sumatra in last month. So what we are doing in Indonesia, actually we have built what we call this is fiscal risk monitor for every regional in Indonesia as one part of the effort to mitigate or to monitor the economic from the fiscal shocks. So we have the fiscal risk monitor, but it is not enough because, as I mentioned, we need to monitor the risks which come from the natural disaster. That's why we built, together with one of the university in Indonesia, we built what we call the CAT model. With this CAT model, which is developed by the Institute Teknologi Bandung in Indonesia, they can estimate and they can capture to what extent the impact to the infrastructure and the economy, in particular when there is when a disaster happens. So this model actually is quite good, but it has not captured on the economic aspect. So the current ECAT model can estimate what's the impact to the public infrastructure, maybe how many houses can be infected, can be distracted because of the natural disasters, but not the impact on the economy as a whole. So we need another model, another approach to estimate the impact from the natural disaster. So by that way, we can at least avoid the fiscal shocks which may come from the natural disaster. That's why we assisted by the UNDRR. We built a model to which is called the new macro fiscal model. Actually, this model it adopts the regular macro model framework actually, and we embed all the estimation how we can estimate when there is a natural disaster happens, to what extent the impact to the economy. And by this way, we can estimate that when there is a natural disaster, let's say there is an earthquake in one province, what is the destruction can take place. So this new model can estimate that situation. And in this model, we also need to make sure that what we have to do as part of the mitigation policies. And by this way, we can find out that when we estimate there is a potential of the natural disaster, we need to build what kind of the preventive investment. So one of them is the early warning system. By this early warning system, we can estimate when we do some policies. So there is some potential losses which we can avoid, and we can reduce the fiscal shocks that may happen based on the estimation. So that's the model that we are now developing together with the UNDRR. I think this will be very helpful for Indonesia in particular, not only to mitigate the impact from the disaster, but also we can estimate what we have to prepare if a disaster happens in one country, in one of our regional districts. So to equip with this model, we also built what we call it as disaster pooling fund. So when the disaster happens, we can estimate the impact, and the funding to mitigate the impact, we can use the money from the disaster pooling fund. So this is a kind of end-to-end policies, not only a model to estimate, but also a model how we can build and how we can finance the potential destruction which can come from the natural disasters. I think that's the model we are building now, and it is an ongoing process. Hopefully, we can soon finish it with the UNDRR and make it more useful for Indonesia and also for other countries. I will stop there, and I think maybe I have passed 5 minutes. I'll stop here, and thank you so much, and we can discuss further. Thank you. I offer to you, Raymond.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Adrian. That is really fascinating. Yeah, I think it's great to see how you have integrated CAP modeling, an understanding of the fiscal shock of disasters, and then making sure that there are pooled funds available. That's really great. I'm sure there will be more questions for you in the Q&A section. Good. With this, I would come to our Pillar 2 speaker, Mr. Ofa. I was wondering, taking SPREP's Weather Ready Pacific program as an example, what are the financing models that lead to sustainable early warning systems across the Pacific region in your experience?
Thank you, Raymond, for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. So, as you all know, the Pacific region is a lot of small island developing states. Weather Ready Pacific is a Pacific-led initiative, 10 years program established by the Pacific Meteorological Council and endorsed by the leaders to respond to help the countries respond to extreme events, particularly meteorological events. So some of the challenges that we have in the Pacific is related to the size of our economies, the size of our meteorological services, and one of the long-standing issues that we're trying to solve through the Weather Ready Pacific program is the maintenance of infrastructure. Those infrastructure needed for early warning systems. But the current funding modality, if we could flick through to the next slide, we have some sort of a hybrid approach at the moment. The program has just started. So we have three main donors who currently put money into the Weather Ready Pacific program: Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. At the moment, it's through bilateral grants. But as you can see here, the model that we are adopting is a hybrid model. Currently, we are working together with these donors to establish a pool fund that will enable us to manage the program better and minimize reporting and all of those administrative things, so we can focus on implementation. So a lot of what we are doing in Weather Ready Pacific at the moment is still in concept phase, and it's not yet fully proven. But that's the idea, is so the pool fund will be used to provide all the developments that was listed in all those key result areas of Weather Ready. At the same time, we want to look at some financing mechanisms for the sustainability of infrastructure, the weather radars, the automatic weather stations, all of those ICT equipments. If you can flick through to the next page, please. So at the moment, a lot of our Pacific Islands, there's no dedicated maintenance fund to maintain any of this complicated equipment. So we are starting to plan around the idea, and hopefully this year, when we have the Pacific Meteorological Ministerial meeting, we would come to some agreement that some financing is set aside from various big infrastructure projects that goes into various accounts of the countries and held here at SPREP for us to help them maintain instrumentation in the future. Next slide, please. So this is my last slide, and it shows you can see here the Weather Ready Pacific Pool Fund. That is the fund that's used to implement the Weather Ready Pacific plan, and then we have yet to be established an operation fund that around asset management. This will come from infrastructure, maintenance fees, cost recovery, other charges, and possibly data charges for regional data that are ring fenced for the use of the region to provide that ongoing maintenance facility, and then establish an investment facility, a trust that national governments, private sector, even philanthropists and all of those investments into a trust, an investment trust that can start to generate revenue to fund the operations of the maintenance facility or the regional instrument center. So the regional instrument center, we're looking at being based in Fiji, that is currently under construction, the regional training center and the regional instrument center. So all of this background work that we are doing is to try to establish the funding mechanisms to have this sustainably this center run to help the small islands in the Pacific. This is still a work in progress, but this is the plan that we have in place in skeleton form on what we look to implement this year, and we'll tweak things as we go along, but we're looking to establish a maintenance facility that is standalone, that's able to withstand some of these global pressures that are happening, like happening right now. So when equipment break down, when emergencies happen, we are able to maintain them and we are able to sustain the early warning systems in the Pacific. Thank you. I'll stop there.
Great. Thank you as well, Mr. Offa. I think that was, again, a really interesting presentation, especially since you're representing a region, right, and the challenges that you have there as well. I'm very happy you also mentioned the maintenance of infrastructure, right? It's something that we see. Setting up a system is one thing, maintaining it is another. We see that with the protocols that we have for anticipatory action. We see that with SOPs and so on. Definitely, that's thank you for highlighting that as well. Good. Then I would come to our Pillar 3 speaker, Mr. Mukesh Kumar. Based on your experience in India, what role does the public-private partnership play in building a national framework for financing, and what governance model have you established? Over to you.
Thanks, Mr. Raymond. Namaste, good morning, good afternoon to all distinguished participants, colleagues, and partners across the Asia Pacific region. I am Mukesh Kumar, DDG International Relations in Department of Telecom, Government of India. I thank the organizer, especially UN and ITU team, for arranging Asia Pacific Early Warning System webinar series, an important platform that brings together policymakers, technical experts, and development partners committed to strengthening early warning system. Today, I will briefly share India's story in financing and advancing early warning system. So in order to appreciate Indian approach towards EWS financing, let us quickly see the deployed architecture in India. Come to please slide 2. So India's nationwide early warning system is being implemented as a fully integrated end-to-end framework that connects disaster detection with rapid public alerting. Multiple authorized agencies monitor hazards such as cyclones, floods, landslides, storms, tsunamis, pandemics, and heavy rainfall. Once a threat is identified, these agencies generate a structured warning messages, which are routed through a centralized cloud-based common alerting protocol platform developed by our own R&D arm, CDOT. So this platform standardizes alerts, ensures interoperability, and enables real-time coordination. Alerts are then reviewed and authorized by national and state emergency operation centers and disaster management authorities using live dashboards, ensuring accuracy, accountability, and timely decision-making. After authorization, alerts are disseminated through multiple redundant communication channels to ensure maximum reach and reliability. These includes SMS and cell broadcast over mobile operator networks, mobile application, web browser notification, satellite system, radio and television broadcast, railway system, and postal sirens. This multi-channel approach avoids single point of failure and ensures alerts reach people even during network congestion. The system has demonstrated population scale impact, delivering billions of disasters and public safety messages, integrating over multiple stakeholder agencies, and successfully reaching millions of citizens during major events. The blue panel in the left highlights real-world scale and success. So 120 plus billion disaster alert SMS has been sent. During COVID-19 alerts, 3.56 plus billion messages were generated. 8 million people reached via cell broadcast system during Cyclone Mocha. 100 plus agencies integrated on one platform. So this is how our overall architecture is implemented in India. So now coming to next slide, discussing financing models in India. So India EWS follows a government-funded financing model where the government of India provides complete financial support for technology development and nationwide implementation. A single implementing agency approach has been adopted to ensure centralized control and uniform rollout, with CDOT designated as the sole implementing agency following successful pilot in 2020. Early pilot implementation studies played a critical role in validating technologies and operational readiness. The system has been expanded through a phased rollout of functionalities, allowing progressive enhancement while managing risks and costs. Phase 1 focused on SMS, mobile application, RSS feeds, and satellite system, while Phase 2 extended coverage to cell broadcast and mass media channels. Importantly, long-term maintenance and sustainability were built into the project scope from the onset of the program, with financial provisions included to ensure operational reliability beyond initial deployment. So this is how we have moved ahead. Please come to next slide. So this is PPP model in India. India EWS PPP model built on collaborative governance. The government plays the central coordinating role by onboarding and aligning all private stakeholders, providing financial support for implementation, defining the overall roadmap, and overseeing project steering, governance, and monitoring. It also establishes standard operating procedure to ensure consistency, reliability, and accountability across the entire EWS system. The private sector supports the system primarily through technical and operational contributions rather than heavy financial investment. Private entities include telecom operator and broadcast partners, provide integration and technical support, and enable the transmission of early warning messages across their network at scale. The significance lies in the fact that this model minimizes investment requirement for private players while leveraging their infrastructure and reach, resulting in a collaborative governance framework that enables rapid, reliable nationwide dissemination of life-saving alerts in alignment with early warning for all objectives. So last slide, please. While I close this brief presentation, I invite you to take advantage of CDOT solution for early warning system implemented in India. CDOT is R&D arm of Government of India and can help other countries in designing, customizing, and implementing EW solution as per the requirement. I can be contacted for any future queries through my email ID mentioned there, dgir-dot@nic.in. So thank you so much for your active listening and being with me during this session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Raymond.
Great. Thank you again. Also a round of applause for you. It was great to see the PPP, right? How the government of India is doing that, bringing in some of the partners, the private partners for increased reach and enhanced technical delivery. Yeah, thank you again. At this point, I would also like to remind all our participants, you can put questions in the Q&A box. I see there are some coming up. Also, if you see a question that you particularly like, you can upvote them and then we can address them later. So please put them in the chat there as well. Good, thanks again. And then with this, I will come to our Pillar 4 speaker, Ms. Kathleen Zambas. Great to have you here as well. I know the Philippine Red Cross has a financing mechanism in place for anticipatory action. So it would be interesting to hear a bit more about that, but also, of course, with the Philippines' newly adopted Republic Act, right, the Declaration of State of Imminent Disaster. You could tell us maybe a bit more about how does this allow anticipatory action to be financed sustainably for local government units and partners. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Raymond. Magandang tanghali from the Philippines. I'm Kathleen Zambas, the Technical Officer for Anticipatory Action of the Disaster Management Service of the Philippine Red Cross. So again, I'll be sharing, as Raymond said, the anticipatory financing used in to trigger early actions and drawing from the experience of the Philippine Red Cross. So anticipatory financing works by making funding available before a hazard impacts or once the forecast-based triggers are met. And instead of waiting for damage or losses to occur, resources are released ahead of time and allowing early actions to be implemented within the forecasted lead time. And I think this is crucial because anticipatory action is not a single activity. It's a continuum that requires financing across different stages. And when we say across different stages, it's from before, during, and after activation. Meaning during the so-called peacetime, financing supports in readiness activities such as capacity building, trainings, pre-positioning, stockpiling, and this investment builds system that would fuel early actions once the triggers are met. And so, we could do implementation of pre-agreed early actions to protect lives and as well as livelihood. So importantly, the value of anticipatory action, anticipatory financing really lies in the fact that it is pre-agreed and pre-allocated, which removes barriers or delays that ensures actions to be implemented within the narrow lead time window or depending on the hazard. So yeah, slide 2. Yeah. So in the Philippine Red Cross, can we go back to the slide 2? Slide 2, please. Yeah, so in the Philippine Red Cross, several financing mechanisms are right now in place to enable this approach. So first, as you can see in the screen, anticipatory action by DREF, we have that, or AA by DREF. This supports already in this year already we in 2025 this already supported one activation for the Typhoon Fongwong, and this mechanism supports right now 2 active early action protocols. So these protocols have 5-year lifespan and includes readiness activities, financing for pre-positioned stocks, and clearly defined early action. So the second one is when there is no approved or simplified early action protocol, we also have, or the National Society could still access funding through what we call eminent DREF, which allows still anticipatory action to be implemented based on reliable forecast. And aside from those two, we have third, the Quick Action Fund of the American Red Cross. This provides flexible funding to support early action implementation, monitoring, and even evaluation or replenishments of pre-positioned stocks or pre-positioned stockpiling on the ground. And finally, for the Philippine Red Cross, we have special projects that are focused on anticipatory action, which provides or which allows available fund to support activities in full circle, coming from the starting from readiness to implementation and even post-activation. So by experience in 2024, the Philippine Red Cross conducted two activations. So for Typhoon Yenzheng and Typhoon Manye, both funded through the Special Project and Quick Action Fund. And in the 2025, in September, and even in November for Fong Wong, we activated AA by DREF. So slide 3, please. Yeah, so as mentioned by Raymond, historically, anticipatory action or financing in the Philippines, it has faced challenges because in the RA 10121, it's not stipulated there that the government is allowed to release fund prior to the hazard. But then through the effort of the anticipatory action, CSOs, actors, and even the national government agencies, this has been changed through the passing of the Republic Act 12287 or the Declaration of Imminent Disaster Law, which allows the government to provide funding and sustainable funding to conduct anticipatory action. So we will be able soon, as we are doing or developing the operational guideline for this, we will soon be able to fund early actions once forecast triggers are met and institutionalize anticipatory financing from national level down to the communities. And this would create more sustainable system that would support not just in the implementation, but of course, the readiness and prepositioning, allowing policy for anticipatory action is being more approachable. So I think that's from my end. Thank you so much again for allowing me to share those experiences from the Philippines and even from the Philippine Red Cross. Thank you.
Thank you again, Kath. That's great to see. I mean, I think we've all been looking towards the Philippines, right, for the new bill, the Declaration of Imminent Disaster Law. That is really exciting. Institutionalizing anticipatory action there, allocating funds. That is good. It's great to see, but also, as you mentioned, Philippine Red Cross has a protocol, right? That and that comes back to the actually maintenance question. That also includes funding for capacity building and so on. So I think that was great to see. Thank you again. Good. With this, we have concluded actually our panel discussion, and we want to give you a bit the chance to also ask questions, making this a bit more interactive. Maybe before we go to the Mentimeter, sorry, I just wanted to direct people to the Q&A chat. Please, you see there all the questions that have been posted. You can upvote them. We will give you 30 seconds. Please go have a look at the Q&As. Upvote the ones that you think these are the most relevant ones, and then we will ask those questions to our distinguished panelists. So maybe 10-20 seconds for you to look at those and upvote. I see we already have definitely one winner, and a second one is also coming up. Maybe we'll start with that. So for our panelists, there is a great question: how to motivate governments to invest more on early warning systems? It is, I guess, a general question, but since we also have government representatives here, it would be good to hear their insights as well. And maybe I would go first to Mr. Adrianto, and then to anyone else. Okay. So how can we motivate governments to invest more?
Okay, thanks, Raymond. Thanks for the question. I think this is very important that how we can make sure the another regional government understand on the risk from this natural disaster. So I think we need to ensure that all regional governments, they recognize and understand to what extent the impact from the disaster, what impacts it leads to the fiscal shocks. So I think this is something that we need to provide the evidence to the local governments. So by that way, they understand the risk which may come up if they neglect this issue. The second one, I think also there needs a kind of incentive policy to make sure that the local government responds to the need for the early warning system. So I think this is very crucial to make sure that everyone, all governments, is in the same understanding that we need this early warning system. I think that's from me, Raymond. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, I think you're highlighting a great point there, right? There is evidence in showcasing, well, what is the fiscal impact on that. Yes, and I see Mr. Mukesh Kumar also, please.
Thanks. Taking the suggestion by Mr. Adrianto, I would like to mention that if we demonstrate sufficient benefit to cost for investment, keeping in mind the social equity being generated out of it. So it is found that in various studies, the benefit to cost ratio varies from 3:1 to 8:1. And if the government sees that the kind of value is generated, so definitely it becomes a kind of good case for not only for government, for the private sector also, to invest sufficiently to have a kind of overall ecosystem which responds in a very positive and organic manner for all the natural disasters. Thank you.
Great. No, absolutely. I also think return on investment, right? We have several studies and so on. It really showcases the benefit of it all in various different ways, but also actually for donors, right? Governments, as you mentioned, private partnerships, and then also Mr. Offa. Yes, over to you.
Yes, I think in the developing world, some of the early warning systems, they're all in different stages of development. And I think it brings to the forefront a lot can be learned from peer learning from the other. If I'll take it from the Met Service point of view, some Met Services and some governments have invested in their meteorological services, upgrading of their disaster management laws and whatnot, and they have seen these benefits going into insurance and things like this. So I think for our part of the world in the Pacific, we tend to work in a holistic manner. So learning from those that have ventured out and made an example that it has worked is a powerful tool in our area. So yeah, thanks.
Great. No, that's actually a great point. As mentioned before, yeah, I think that kind of peer learning, right, that you mentioned is definitely important. Also, I think we have colleagues from WMO here who can also potentially also share a bit more how that kind of network is shaping or helping countries and subregions as well, right, to learn from each other. Great, thank you as well. And I see, Mr. Adrianto, you have your hand up again as well.
Yeah, thanks, Raymond. So there is another question from organizer. What form of technical, institutional, and financial support proven most effective? So I think the performance-based approach is, I think, is the most effective one. So any support which is provided to the high-risk countries, it should be based on the commitment and the progress of the local governments in developing policies to mitigate the impact from the natural disaster, in particular for the early warning system. So I think this should not be a kind of to provide the support without nothing, but it should be the support should be provided with something that needs to be met by the countries. I think that's from me. Thanks, Raman.
Great, Yona, absolutely. Thank you for picking up that question. If any other panel members would like to look at that, so what forms of technical, institutional, and financial support have proved most effective in assisting high-risk countries with limited resources? I think it also actually goes a bit towards, again, what Mr. Ofa said in terms of peer learning there as well. There are any reflections there? Otherwise, I see people are still upvoting. And I see we have, for example, a question that goes more towards PNG. How can we finance early warning systems in PNG? Is it government priority or all regional stakeholders and bodies to work together to advance early warning systems in PNG? If you take it more broadly, right, how can we, I guess, support governments in setting up or advancing early warning systems? Anyone like to take that one? Yes, Mr. Fa.
Thank you, Raymond. From a Pillar 2 perspective, Papua New Guinea is a member of the Pacific Meteorological Council. And I know that they are also a member of the regional disaster management meeting in the Pacific. So from a regional perspective, we support from Pillar 2 the support from the crop agencies, so what we call the intergovernmental organizations that support, like for Weather Ready Pacific, it is a empowering program to empower and to provide advice and to coordinate projects for countries like Papua New Guinea. And there are activities in Weather Ready Pacific for Papua New Guinea. They have their own laws in PNG. They have their Met service. We work together with them. But how far they want to take forward their early warning system, a lot of that lies with their national government. Their commitments of the national governments to take it forward, because this early warning system is, I mean, natural hazards is one challenge to the whole spectrum of challenges that the government faces. But I know that it is a high priority in Papua New Guinea, and definitely from a Pillar 2 perspective, from providing early warnings to Papua New Guinea, we provide that support directly as a member country of SPREP to the Papua New Guinea Met Service. Thank you.
Oh, great. Yep. That is really great to see this, I guess, how SPREP can support member countries, member governments, and hydromet services. Perfect. Thank you for highlighting that as well. Is there any other panel member who would like to address that? Otherwise, we do have one question as well, which goes somewhat into a similar direction, but There is one specifically about Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste is currently implementing a GCF project to enhance early warning systems for hydrometeorological hazards, including the installation of radar and 11 weather stations. The project will end in 2027. How can we ensure the government has the budget and technical skills to maintain this expensive equipment once international funding stops? What strategies does the panel suggest? I think that's a great question, right? We do have a project. Equipment will be there. It will end the project. So how can we make sure? What is the strategy for sustaining the investment there? Is there any panel member who would like to address that based on your experience? Yes, Mr. Ofa, I was hoping.
Yeah. Sorry to keep, talking. I guess Timor-Leste is a small country, and the same challenges that we face in the Pacific Islands. You have capital, you use it to buy a certain piece of equipment, and then it's neglected, and then you have to rebuild it from scratch again when it breaks down. That's the horrible story, and where we want to move away from, and that is exactly why we are moving in that direction of trying to establish a sustainable maintenance facility in terms of finance, working together as a region. So Timor-Leste is in a sort of a unique position. It's part of the Indian Ocean, and it's also part of the Pacific. We have projects here that we operate from SPREP, not under weather ready, but funded under the Australian government. The Timor-Leste is part of it. So that can be a discussion, and we're willing to have these discussions with Timor-Leste on how, if they wish to join the Pacific initiative. I think this is a good opportunity that comes out of this meeting. They can join and get and ensure that those sustainability issues are settled. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you again for highlighting the importance of the regional bodies, right? And Timor-Leste sits in between those two, having also just joined ASEAN. So it's great. Yeah, thank you for highlighting that. Mr. Kumar, yes, you also have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. As a normal practice, when any kind of project is undertaken and sustainability is required to be ensured, it is very important to incorporate the operational and maintenance cost in the beginning itself, so that we know that for the entire life cycle, we are having a kind of a structured mechanism to see that even when a CapEx is met and OPEX is also, how OPEX will be met, if that is already put in place while conceiving the project and implementing it, it is a good idea. Second thing is that for this important initiative which is directly related to public, it should always be a kind of government funded, where private participation, we should have a list burden on private player. So we can ask private player to use their networks and not to put direct money in direct investment on that. So in that way, it will be a kind of more feasible. In fact, India has offer from CDOT with on even through Partner to Connect pledge, where CDOT can demonstrate its system in a country like Timor-Leste. So it's a small country, and I'm sure that if the country comes forward, we will be able to help out for deploying our early warning system there. Thank you.
Great. Thanks as well for those remarks. And I think you've actually addressed a bit already a question that was in the chat as well about private sector engagement or strategies and how to engage the private sector more directly. I think at this point I have to close the Q&A as we are about to come to a close of the webinar. But I want to thank again all the panelists for your interventions and Q&As. A big round of applause for all of you. Thank you. Good. With this, I want to come back to Mr. Elkan Rahimov. Elkan, I think that was quite an interesting, broad range of insights that we got from the different panelists, right? Looking at sustainability in different ways, different strategies, making sure really that we ensure the gains are maintained. What are your key takeaways from this webinar?
Thank you, Raymond. First of all, appreciation to all panelists and the speakers today for all insights and also for the time you dedicated to this session. Throughout the session, I think close to 80 participants, I think, who joined us online. It's a great interest to this series of webinars being organized jointly by the different partners as a part of Early Warning for All initiative. On a personal side, because I spent just before the Bangkok, I spent last 3 years in Indonesia as IFRC head of delegation. It's great to hear reflection from the country and especially size of its geography for us, how the PMI Indonesian Red Cross engages with the government structures to reach out to the communities, where it's not easy just take a plane and travel. You need to take a boat in most of the cases, and they be prepared in advance of disaster. I also would like to extend appreciation to the member of our own network from Red Cross Red Crescent to the colleague from the Philippine Red Cross. The country was really impacted by several disasters this year. We always refer to the Philippines as a menu of the disasters, but last year and this year was unprecedented, and once again highlights the importance when it comes to the anticipatory action and the working together. Highlights from the meeting, I think it's important that sustainable financing is not only about mobilizing more money and more financial resources. It's about connecting different initiatives with one goal. It's when the partners work together for the same goals. At the end of the day, community which are impacted, they will not much care is which specific organization is providing support, because support should be long-term, anticipate the risk, and also be multifunctional together as one system. That's why national policies are very, very important. Second, looking also at the points which the team was preparing for me in the preparations for this meeting, and the ones which I clearly think we need to highlight more, it's a social and economic benefits for the early warning system. So more or less, we need to really show what's the economical benefit for us working together and investing into this, not only the numbers of the people which were been impacted or supported, because this is a way how fortunately or unfortunately system functions. I don't want to state obvious that early action reduces losses, protects development gains, and strengthens resilience. This is all partners across this online table know. But also including and innovative financing approaches are critical. So therefore, having different partners for the same discussions with the different experiences is very, very important. Therefore, I'm at the summary of the closing remark, I would like to highlight that Early Warning for All is not a standalone initiative, and that's to be specifically highlighted. It's a collaborative platform, bringing together countries, different institutions, and the communities. I think by continuing working together and by continuing engagement, we can turn stronger financing into early action and also reduce losses for the communities. And I believe not only by the year of 2027, but beyond, because disasters never stop, response never stops, and the preparedness never stops. Thank you to all for this amazing discussion today, and all the best for the rest of the week. Thank you very much.